So I woke up this morning, probably similar to a lot of you, because this is breaking news. This came out, I guess, a couple of hours ago. To Donald Trump threatening civil war? That's what people are saying. I don't know. Let's decide for ourselves. So Donald Trump, the two-time loser, and also the loser of the 2020 election. Reminder, Joe Biden won the 2020 election. There were no signs of voter fraud in the 2020 election. And Donald Trump lied about it. Joe Biden is the winner. Well, we got these truths here from real Donald Trump. And we got to read this shit. Because this is interesting. Now, this is a two-parter. But we're gonna start with part one here. And again, the highlight is he's apparently telling people to start protesting. We know when Trump tells people to protest, you get shit like January 6th, right? So, probably not good if he's telling people to protest. We also know, to give you the top line news here, Donald Trump is going to claim he will be arrested on Tuesday, okay? This is Donald Trump's words, not mine. He will be arrested on Tuesday, his words. Now, does that mean arrested? Arrested like handcuffs? Or does that mean he's just subpoenaed and is forced to go somewhere, but he's not really arrested? I could see him saying he'd be arrested because of a subpoena. Anyway, let's read what he's got to say. Our nation is now third world and dying. Now, that part, so far, we're in agreement. The American dream is dead. Agreed. The radical left anarchists have Stalin, not to be confused with Joseph Stalin, a presidential election. Now, again, that is not true. Joe Biden actually won the election. This guy is just a crybaby who shit his pants and doesn't know how to change his own diaper. So, and with it, the heart of our country. American patriots are being arrested and held in captivity like animals, while criminals and leftist thugs are allowed to roam the streets, killing and burning with no retribution. Like, killing and burning. Now, whether or not, like, whatever your opinion is on violent protests, personally, my opinion is more in the favorable direction, but hey, obviously I don't support violence against people. I only support violence against property. And so I obviously don't encourage that either, because you're probably going to go to jail and that doesn't help anyone. But the idea that leftist thugs, what do thugs mean? Black people. He's talking about black people. But the idea that black people are roaming the streets, killing people just at random, and burning, killing and burning with no retribution. What? Okay, so in Donald Trump's version of reality, right, it's like black people are running through the streets just shooting people down at random, right? There's no rhyme or reason. People are dying in the streets, right? And also burning things. Like, again, whatever your opinion was on the 2020 uprising, that was 3 years ago. That was 3 years ago. Okay? That was 3 years ago. The idea that leftist thugs, whatever that means, am I right, are quote-unquote killing and burning in 2023. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Okay? But let's keep going. Millions are flooding through our open borders. Now, borders spelled with an A, by the way. But, reminder, I know this one fucks with conservatives' brains, and it fucks with my brain too, because I hate closed borders. I actually want open borders. Joe Biden has a more conservative, more strict border policy than Donald Trump. Okay, I need you to understand. I need you to understand this. Joe Biden, the only maybe difference in the positive direction is child separation policy. But that's not what we're discussing here. On the border and on immigration, Joe Biden has carried over Donald Trump's restrictions. He has constructed more of the wall, right? So Joe Biden, percentage-wise, has more of the wall built than Donald Trump, right? And again, Joe Biden is doing all kinds of immigration restrictions, banning entry from certain countries, so on and so forth. So factually, in the world of the real world, in reality, Joe Biden has a more closed border than Donald Trump did at any point during his presidency. That's a fact, okay? That is just a fact. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that also because I support open borders. But again, this idea that Joe Biden, like, it's purely 1000% in the realms of fantasy. They don't live in the real world. In their real world, the borders are open and black people are burning things without any retribution. By the way, what would the retribution be? But let's not get to that part. What? But okay, this is page 1. Crime and inflation are destroying our very way of life. Now, illegal leaks from a corrupt and highly political Manhattan District Attorney's office. By the way, what does highly political mean? It's an elected position. You would think someone running for an election, you would think that they're political, right? Aren't they supposed to be political? But okay. Which has allowed new records to be set in violent crime and whose leader is funded by George Soros. What? Okay. Indicate that with no crime being able to be proven and based on an old and fully debunked by numerous other prosecutors fairy tale, the far and away leading Republican candidate, former president of the United States of America, will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. Protest, take our nation back. So this is obviously gaining headlines, mostly because of this last sentence here. Donald Trump is claiming he will be arrested on Tuesday. Now again, we don't know. Is this like a subpoena for him to testify in some way that he's going to defy and therefore be arrested on purpose, you know? Second of all, on page 1, he's talking about leftist thugs killing and burning. Again, what the fuck does that mean? It means protesting. People, specifically black people, were protesting 3 years ago. 3 years ago, a couple of black people did some protests in a couple of cities across the country. That's bad, right? That's killing and burning, right? But again, when's the last time Donald Trump told people to protest? January 6th. We know how that went, okay? But that's fine. Telling more people to protest. Page 2, protests are good. Page 1, protests are evil, and we need retribution, right? But again, we know Donald Trump is really good at animating his base. Now, this came out a couple of hours ago. Am I going to sit here and tell you that, you know, there's going to be attacks from right-wingers all across the country in the next coming days? I don't know. I have no idea. What I do know is that in the days before January 6th, when Donald Trump was telling everyone to protest and right-wing social media was saying there's going to be stuff going down on January 6th, it turns out that meant they planted bombs. That meant that they're going to storm the Capitol. That meant that they're going to try to kill the vice president, right? I'm just going to say, if we can learn from history here, if we can, I would make an educated guess that at least something bad is going to happen from the right-wing camp. Are they just going to leave Trump hanging? Are they really going to leave Trump hanging? He's going to be arrested. We're talking about, like, this is the final countdown shit, okay? If Donald Trump is arrested and put in jail, I mean, if you thought January 6th was bad as far as, like, a motivating factor, right? Losing an election, really got these guys pissed the fuck off that they went and killed themselves at the Capitol. Some of them killed themselves. Then the king losing his crown versus the king being put in prison. I mean, I'm just saying, these guys worship this motherfucker, okay? They worship him. He is their god. He is their king, okay? Again, the king losing the crown, that's one thing. The king going to jail, I don't know. Now, again, it's totally possible right-wingers are like, well, I guess the party's over. Our guy's in jail now. Let's move over to Meatball Ron, right? But I don't know. I mean, like, that's the thing. All you need is a couple of crazy motherfuckers, and some real bad shit can go down. Look at January 6th, right? You had a couple hundred crazy motherfuckers. All of a sudden, you got thousands of motherfuckers acting like animals, right? When you have to understand, most people are sheep. Most people follow. Most people don't have they don't think in their brains. Most people are sheep, right? And they just follow the leader, right? So all we need is a couple of guys, right, to do or plan some crazy shit, and that could be a catalyst for a lot more Trumpers going nuts. Really, my opinion is anywhere where there are large gatherings of Trumpers, all it takes is a couple guys to do some crazy shit, and they're all, again, they're animalistic, right? They're just going to switch off their brain. Again, switching off their brain implies that they had one. But whatever level of higher functioning that they had, all they need is to hear someone talk about the wokes are destroying America, and boom, they're going to act as an animal on behalf of the leader. We saw that on January 6th. We've seen that in multiple right-wing protests, protests in quotes. So again, could be bad. Could be bad. I'm not sure. And we also don't know what it means when Donald Trump says he will be arrested. Again, it could literally be he's just going in to testify, but he's going to specifically refuse and essentially just make himself, he's going to get arrested for resisting a subpoena, essentially, right? So he might just be manufacturing the whole thing, or who knows? He might actually be getting arrested. I don't know. We'll find out. But either way, pretty interesting development here, and good thing I am doing a show on Saturday, because otherwise I'd have to wait until Sunday for this one. But there you go.